Welcome to the Influencer Show with your host, Trishawn Ben Salmi.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Influencer Show, where I interview people who can help influence the way you live life in a number of different ways. I'm your host, C7, and today we have a very special guest for us. So, if you'd like to introduce yourself to your listeners and let them know a little bit about you.
Hey, how you doing, everybody? And thanks for inviting me to the show. My name is Ernest. I'm from theprofitroom.com. We're a stock market trading and education company. So we teach people how to trade the different financial markets, the currency markets, the stock markets, anything that has to do with fundamental and technical analysis. We show people how to do it. So that's what I do.
It's absolutely amazing. And why don't you share with the listeners why you do what you do?
So the reason I do what I do is because of empowerment as well as self-sufficiency. When you look at the financial markets rule the world. No matter what type of job or career you have, you may have a career in technology. You may have a career in utilities, working for a utility company, or you may have a career in the medical business. So all those careers have finances behind it, whether it's a new drug, whether it's a new video game or a new type of software. And behind that is the big money that finances the companies that we may work for. So I teach people how they can get involved with the bigger companies in order to trade or invest. So if the smaller companies decide to lay you off or you don't have a job, you can still participate and still be able to make money. So that's why I really do it, because of the self-sufficiency, that you don't have to rely on someone all the time to give you income, and you can learn how to create it and generate it on your own.
I definitely think that's something that's really key. Just having that knowledge, just having that knowledge around trading, as you said, it provides you with a sense of security. And it's just something really important.
Yep.
And what would you say has been the biggest influence on you that you wish you had known sooner?
So one of my biggest influences on me to know sooner is having the patience, also having the discipline, and also having a little bit more of knowledge of the financial markets. Majority of the time when we look at the currency markets and the financial markets, we get a little bit scared and we push it to the side to something that most likely will seem that'll fit us or our local community. So I just wish I knew a lot sooner that there are opportunities for everyone to learn how to trade or invest in these markets and not be a little bit scared in order to jump into that new arena.
I definitely agree. I think that does is something that is really a really big roadblock for many people when it comes to just getting involved in trading or just investing in anything really, because there's so many different fears that they have attached with it.
Correct. They get very, very nervous when they see that, because it just seems like, wow, this is
Yeah,
something above me that I probably can't ever do.
exactly. And how do you prefer to influence others to change the way they live their lives for the better?
So I prefer to influence others by them seeing what I actually do versus teaching. So there's a lot of people in any type of field that can teach you how to do something. But if they're not actively doing it at the same time, you may lose a little bit of enthusiasm. That's like hiring a personal trainer to teach you how to work out and lift weights, and they're overweight. They have the knowledge to teach you how to get in shape, but they're not using their same knowledge.
Yeah.
So but if your personal trainer is in shape and looks, like they have muscles, you respect it a little bit better. So that's how I try to do it. Whereas even though I'm a teacher or instructor, you're actually seeing me do what I'm actually teaching. So it gives you a little bit more of confidence in what I'm telling you that I'm actually doing at the same time.
Exactly, that's so important. Because then, just by having that teacher who's actually doing and you utilizing the tools that he's then teaching you, it sort of reassures you as to like this actually does work.
Correct, because there's a lot of people, like I said, that will teach you how to do something, and they're not actively doing it as
Yeah,
well, and that could be that could be a lot disappointing.
exactly. Yeah, definitely, I agree with that. And what would you say people could do to stay motivated during moments of crisis?
So what people can actually do, I would say, is use the imagination. Like I always looked at, a lot of people are only looking at the surface right now. They're not looking at what could potentially happen in the future. We all have gone through some type of crisis internally. It could be financially, it could be something with sickness, but we eventually get through it. We eventually get through it. I like to look at it like the radar situation. Like when you're looking at radar, like when you're watching the TV shows, you're only looking at that one little spot, and that one little spot is you, and you comparing yourself to that one little spot. You're looking at all your problems, you're looking at all your issues, but you don't realize that that radar can go out so much farther, right? So much farther, where there's opportunities out there for you to gain more knowledge. You can attract more information. You can attract more people, but you're just focused on this little moment of crisis that you think is going to be the end of the world. And especially if you're young, it's not the end of the world. So you want to spread your radar out. You want to use that imagination to look forward to times where it's going to be better. So if you have any type of project you're working on any type of business or something of that nature, it's just a pause right now. That's it. And eventually you'll get over that and move forward. But you just can't think current. You have to think in the future.
Exactly, yeah. I think that's something that like many of us actually struggle with, just like having that sort of thinking about the future and just being able to not only predict different scenarios, but being able to see how your actions of today will affect you in the long run.
Correct, correct. It's like you don't want to worry too much about the future because you're conscious of the present, but whatever is happening in the present doesn't necessarily mean it's going to take over your future.
Mm.
Like the stuff that's going on now in the world with the COVID and things of that nature, that eventually will die down. We don't know how long, but you shouldn't let that stop you from pushing forward with the course that you plan on doing. Because if you look back in history, we had terrible national disasters, hurricanes, earthquakes, terrorist attacks, things of that nature, that those were moment of crisis. But we came out of that. You know, a lot of people came out of that. So this situation we in now, even if it's a personal crisis, we will come out of that. But we have to keep that in mind that it's not easy to maybe come out of it right away, but we will eventually come out of that.
Exactly. Yeah. And what would you say is your passion?
So my passion is more of teaching people how to be free. So my passion is more of freedom of time. So there's people that in this business that chase the money. So if you chase the money, you'll get the people who chasing the money chase you. So I chase the freedom. And when I chase the freedom, the money follows. So what I mean by that is that all we have in life is time. Many people, especially when you get older, are always chasing what's the next level I can get? What's the next level? So you start off with school, then what university, then what job, then what promotion. You know, it's time, 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 time. What I have my passion for is the freedom. So the freedom gives you the time to do whatever you want to do. Whether you want to skateboard, whether you want to go to the beach, whether you want to vacation. And that's my passion through trading and investing in order to get that time back. Because the older you get, you realize the less time you have. So if you're younger, like a teenager, then you would come in your 20s, 30s, 40s. So when you start getting in 40s and 50s, you think back, I wish I was a teenager again. And people say that because they wasted a lot of time. So my passion is to give people the freedom so they can get their time back and not have to rush every single day. I got to rush to go to work. I got to rush to do this. I got to rush to do that. And majority of people are rushing because they want to make money. They need money for something, and that takes away their time from sitting back and enjoying life. So that's more of my passion, is to teach people how they could slow down and have the freedom to enjoy their time.
I definitely think that's something that's really important because then, sort of like being able to become more aware as to how important time is, it actually shifts our perspective and it actually helps us to prioritize whether we actually need to do that right now or not.
Correct. That's absolutely correct.
And if you had a megaphone and you could say one thing to the world that would have a lasting influence, what would it be and why?
So I would shout out, I would say forgive, and I would say love. Have forgiveness and have love. Because no matter what in this world, everybody's imperfect, right? We all do things that hurt people sometimes. So we have to learn how to forgive. If we can learn how to forgive, we can learn how to love each other, right? Because we do stuff all the time that disappoints. And if you can forgive somebody, that means that you love them. So if you love somebody, that means you can forgive them, right? It's like hand over hand. So forgiveness and love. That's what I look at. It's many countries, right, that go through a lot of stuff. Then they forgive each other. Then they're not fighting no more, right? And something happens to him. You have a fight with your brother or sister. You forgive them because you love them. So if both sides are doing the same thing back and forth, you got constantly someone forgiving, someone loving, someone forgiving, someone loving. It hopefully will get a balance out, have a balance out with things in life. And that will be more of a purpose for myself to see people actually do.
Mm. I definitely think that's something that's really, really important, especially at a time like now. Like just being able to then utilize those teachings and learnings and incorporate them in everyday life can actually be of huge, huge benefits to people.
Exactly. Exactly. If they sit back and they could look at those two values, they would benefit a lot from that.
Yeah, definitely. I totally agree with that. So true. And what advice would you give to those who may have had their very own £1 million idea at a time like this?
So if you have an idea, you want to hold that idea tight. You always want to keep pursuing it. I would tell somebody, don't put yourself out there too prematurely. Work on that idea, get the solid facts, get everything together. And when you're ready for it, you push it. But I would not give up on it. Just keep pushing it and pushing it. And don't compare yourself to other people and what other people are doing. As many a times when I first started, I was just making videos and videos and on YouTube and videos. and still not a lot of people haven't even heard of myself or my company. I would get 10 views, 14 views, right? And psychologically, nowadays with social media, if you don't have views and likes and things of that nature, you feel that you don't have any value. So if you don't have a whole bunch of sales and things of that nature, you feel like your product or your idea is worthless. And it's still not if you believe in it, because one day it's going to take off and do what you expect. So I would keep that idea and keep pushing it and present it when you have the solid facts behind it and you have the energy and the time to push it, because it's not going to happen overnight, majority of the stuff, but it will eventually work out as you put the passion behind your idea.
I definitely think that's something really important. Just constantly working, trying to constantly improve your art. It then allows you to not only come across better, but then it also enables you to constantly adapt based on how maybe the world may be changing. So in that way, your idea or maybe your product is still relevant regardless of what time you then choose to release it.
Correct. Because maybe your product right now isn't fitting the full universe,
Hmm.
but something may happen out of the blue. Now your product is very hot. So
Ex-
for instance, say you had something with technology with like internet security and it wasn't a big deal. Then all of a sudden now everybody's staying at home. Now your product is going to be popular because everybody needs internet security because they're on the computer more, or vice versa. It could be anything. It could be, say you have security cameras and that wasn't that big, or I had a special idea. Now with everything going on with TV and riots, now, hey, let's contact you because you know you have a special security camera.
Hmm.
So whatever your idea is probably still great, but one day it's going to be relevant and pop up and everybody's going to want it. So don't give up on it. Just keep pushing it and do what you have to do.
Exactly. Yeah, it's so very true. And what would you say is the biggest issue, or maybe even a problem that you are aiming to solve as an influencer in your own industry?
So one of the biggest issues I'm trying to solve is that when you look at people in finance, currency markets, that you feel that you have to be have a certain level of education, that you have to be to a certain level of university in order to do what I do. And it's not true. And many people in this industry normally don't look like myself who's doing what I do, majority of them. So my goal is to tell people that if you decide to open up a brokerage account and you want to trade or invest in pounds or any other currency, uh, Japanese yen, Aussie dollar, Apple, Facebook, any of the companies, they don't require a university degree. They don't require a high school diploma. They don't Google where you live at to see if you're in the slums or the ghetto. They don't care what nationality you are. If you're black, white, Asian, they don't care. So it's an open opportunity for everyone from all economic backgrounds. They don't care how many brothers or sisters you have, how big, how small you are. And you can still put money and invest and have the same opportunities like other people have. And that's my biggest obstacle to let people know. And I get students from all backgrounds to show. It doesn't matter if you're a doctor, a lawyer, a truck driver, someone who is in the food industry, a taxi driver. It doesn't matter. You can be able to do exactly what I'm doing and be able to consistently make profits.
Mm. I definitely think that's something that's really important. Just being able to like get rid of all those limiting beliefs and barriers that may be holding you back, and actually
Mm,
look at the pros and just look at how then you are then able to equip yourself, as you said, freedom.
correct. Because all of these people are chasing freedom.
Mm.
No matter what they're doing, you're going to work every day, you're exchanging your time for money. And that's what you're doing. So if you can learn how to get that time back for almost the same amount of money, that's an even exchange.
Mm. Yeah, definitely get correct. Yeah.
Mm.
And what would you say was the pivotal point along your journey, and what did it teach you?
So the pivotal point of my journey was that I found myself always chasing when I worked for something even better and even better. And I realized I had a buddy of mine and two close family members that died young because of sickness, because they got sick. And they had a decent job, they owned property, and they were always chasing, looking for more because they were afraid that they was going to lose it, right? Because they were never satisfied. And that's what we live in a culture. We're always chasing for more. Once we get something, we're not satisfied. We're looking for more. The new phone, the new car, the bigger house. And when I realized that, I wanted to not be in a position where I had to keep chasing, but I value my time. So now I realize for what I was doing 40 or 50 hours a week, I can do at the comfort of my home office in 5 to 10 minutes. And I can enjoy the rest of the day and the rest of the week and do whatever I want to do because we all can't escape sickness. Sometimes it happens. And that was the pivotal point where I realized I didn't want to chase after the money. I wanted the money and the income to come to me on my terms.
I definitely think that's really important because then just by changing that mindset instead of having to work for money and making money then have to come to you, it then sort of flips the table and it then puts you in the choice.
Yeah, correct. Because now you have a different value set. You know,
Hmm.
you have a different value set. It's just like you're valuing your time more than money because you're making your valuable your life more valuable in that sense. So it puts a lot of stuff into perspective.
Yeah, definitely. That's so true. Definitely agree. And what would you say are the top three lessons that you have learned along your life journey? And how did they influence the way you look at life?
So the top three things, like I mentioned before, I say patience. I would say discipline, and I also say forgiveness as well. Because patience, number one, because we always rush and we want stuff now. My generation, even your generation, was much faster. I had much things faster than my parents had. They grew up in the industrial age. I grew up in the internet age, so stuff is fast. So you had less patience. Discipline. Discipline is the second thing where uh, you're disciplined in the way of not overreacting and waiting, and when you're making choices. So when you have the right discipline, you get a little bit more wisdom. And third is forgiveness too. Like I said before, sometimes people disappoint with certain things. Things happen because people are impatient, right? So if you learn how to forgive and move forward, and not hold grudges, it won't keep you back in life. Because if you don't forgive, you allow that situation to give you power, to give it power to you. And you're like, oh man, you'll lose sleep over it, you'll get upset. But once you forgive, you cut it off, you know, and you cut it off and you keep it moving from there. And that helped me just move. Um, that just helped me move a little bit better in order to do certain things, in order to just push more in my life.
Hmm. I can definitely agree. Those are like fundamentals and key life skills that then enable us not only to be able to assess situations and act accordingly, but then it also allows us to actually think back to how things were before we had all this instant instant gratification, and how people
Yeah,
actually had the patience.
exactly.
Mm,
Exactly. Because now everything is at our
exactly.
fingertips. We need it right now.
Yeah. And if you had to be another person for one day, who would it be and why?
I really don't know for sure who I actually would want to be at this point because uh I know like back in the day I would probably say some specific finance guru or maybe like some sports star or maybe a race car driver at that time just to see what they do. But at this point, I really have nobody really in particular because a lot of the stuff I've been just studying and trying to work on myself because I know that everybody has issues that they have to deal with.
Mm,
So I probably wouldn't even want to know what they have to deal with. So to
mm,
mess with my mindset of how I view them, I want to view them the way I actually see them, you know, because I know if I was in the life of like a certain sports star or actress, I know it's things in there that's probably I don't want to really see. And
mm.
I know everybody don't think like that, but I think like that because I would want to be able to see their whole 24 hours of the day. And I know it wouldn't be pretty all the time. So,
Definitely. I think that's definitely like really important because many people don't actually look at it like that. They often think, oh my God, it looks amazing. But yes, that's the facade they're then showing you. It's about being able to dive deeper in the story behind the story to then see the things that go on behind closed doors. Because then not only do you get a sense of the person, get to know them better, but then you also see, as you said, the imperfections.
correct, correct. And if I know I have imperfections, they probably have the same amount or even more, you know?
Yeah.
So,
Hmm. And what are your views on the word legacy? And what legacy would you like to leave?
so my views on the word legacy is something that you could leave behind that impacted others. So my legacy would be a thought process for people to be conscious of their needs financially, spiritually, and emotionally. Make sure that they're focusing on them and not worried about others. And self sufficiency. So even though I am not against the group economics and everybody working together, but at the end of the day, as we work together and do things, you always want to make sure that you're taking care of yourself as well because things happen. Jobs let go, careers end, people disappoint. So you want to be able to have that strength mentally, spiritually, and physically to know, hey, I can take care of myself. I'm able to empower myself in order to provide for myself, for my family in the future, and not have to rely on someone else. So that would be my legacy to have that imprinted in people's mind that they can actually do that and take control of their finances.
Hmm. I definitely believe that's something that's really important because then having that, once again, the sense of self-relief, the security, just knowing that regardless of what happens at the end of the day, I'm in a place where I know that I will be financially secure no matter which way things go. So then by having that sort of those systems in place, those things in place, then it actually allows you to then prioritize the things that are really important to you.
Correct. Very, very important to you because
Mm.
anything can happen at any time in your life, and you want to be able to have that time in order to take care of it.
Yeah, exactly. And what are your views on morning routines?
So my views on morning routines are starting off your day with a clear mindset. Like I get up every day, I do cardio for an hour on I have a stairmaster or elliptical machine. Every morning I do it, and when I do that, I listen to my positive motivations of stuff, either music or either something with like Eric Thomas or other people to motivate me through the day. And that clears my mind because now I have energy. I have energy. Then once I do that, I'm able to eat a small breakfast. Then I sit down at my computer here and I get on the phone with my team and we start to trade and work. And that morning energy, burning those calories, I'm already pumped up. I'm already, excited. I'm able to work clear. Then later on, I have the day to go to the gym and do whatever I have to do. But I'm not getting up and I'm not drowsy. I'm already have my heart rate going. I got everything laid out. I'm starting the day on average about 3 hours before the rest of everybody else is up. So I have a advantage already because I'm not wasting that time in between where mostly people may sleep a little bit later.
Definitely. So very important, because then if you're then willing to do the things that most people don't, then you'll get the rewards that most people don't at the end of the day.
Yeah, that's correct. Exactly.
Mm. And what advice would you then give to your younger self?
I would tell my younger self the same thing. Be patient. Make sure you focus and don't rush the process. Don't rush, but have a strategic plan. Many people, when you first start off, you're learning or doing something, but make sure I have a plan and a timeline. I would tell myself that. So that timeline and that plan forces you to evaluate yourself as you go. And that where I probably lacked when I was younger, maybe just going with the flow, even though I knew I was doing good. But if I put myself to a timeline, it would help me self evaluate what I needed to do next. So that's what I would tell my younger self with that.
That's definitely very important and key words of advice. And lastly, could you share with the listeners where they can find you if they'd like to find out about any upcoming things you may have?
All right. So everything on our company is theprofitroom.com. So you go to theprofitroom.com. All Instagram, you'll see theprofitroom.com. You'll see our logo, Twitter, Facebook, any social media. When you look up the Profit Room, most likely you'll see my face or my partner Latoya's face. And we post a lot of stuff on Instagram as well. We're trying to get a little bit better with Twitter. We have a Facebook group as well, the Profit Room, the Profit Trading Room. And you can also email me, Ernest at theprofitroom.com. But anything, the Profit Room, you'll find our company.
That is absolutely amazing. I really do urge that you guys do go and check them out. And I'd like to thank you for coming on the Influencer Show today.
No problem. Thanks for having us. Appreciate it.
Thank you. And also like to thank you listeners for sticking to the end. And if you guys have any questions, please do feel free to either drop them in the comment section or email Ernest. And if you guys like to apply to have the chance to be on the show, please do feel free to email the email that's up on the screen. And I hope you guys have a great day. That's it from me. Bye.